Town North Wilkesboro Board of Commissions regular meeting is now in session. Please rise. Bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that might affect us all. We continue to remind us that all we do here today, all that we accomplish is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your Son's name, Jesus. Amen. Chief Mathis, would you please lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, please be seated. Thank you. Okay, regarding the minutes, we need a motion to approve the minutes, please. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written. Thank you, Mr. Church. Next second, please.
Second.
Thank you both. All those in favor? Thank you. Carries. There are no speakers. I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry, I made a mistake, Mark. I need a motion to approve the agenda, please. Thank you, gentlemen. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. Next year. Okay, under awards and recognitions, this time it's be my honor to swear in our new town manager, Holly Benton. Yes, sir.
I was gonna have my mother hold the Bible, but my family is always late. So my nephew Campbell's gonna hold the Bible.
Holly, would you prefer that we can wait? We can do,
We can do maybe Jennings first. I hate to throw off the order.
tell you what, we'll do. We'll do kid, yeah.
Well, if they're not here after we do that one. then
No.
Your family needs to be here. I'm with you.
We'll do interim chief Kenny Hammond, please, and his family. Any other family members want to come on? Sure, okay. You want that video? Hey, what do you want? Left hand on the table, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. As the interim fire chief of North Wilkesboro Fire Department. Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Swear I will support the Constitution of the United States
And the laws of the state of North Carolina,
and the laws of the state of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
that applies to the NC Fire Prevention Codes.
that applies to the NC Fire Prevention Code.
And I pledge to carry out the duties as interim fire chief
And I pledge to carry out the duties of interim fire chief
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and will honor and respect the mission, goals, and purpose
and honor and respect the mission of the North Wilkesboro
and policies of the North Wilkesboro Fire Department.
and policies of the North Wilkesboro Fire Department.
And that I will not be influenced in any matter
And will not be influenced in any matter
on account of personal bias or prejudice,
on any counts of personal bias or prejudice,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
to execute the duties of my office
as interim fire chief of the North Wilkesboro Fire Department,
as an interim fire chief of the North Wilkesboro Fire Department,
according to the best of my skill, abilities, and judgment.
according to the best skills, ability, and judgment.
So help me God.
So that we can
Congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you. It's my honor and pleasure to read this proclamation to honor our retiring fire chief of North Wilkesboro Fire Department, Jimmy Martin. Whereas Jimmy Martin began work with the town of North Wilkesboro November 18th, 1981 as a laborer, and in 1985 became director of Woodlawn Community Center, then plant operator in the wastewater treatment plant in 1988, and served until his retirement in July 2012. And whereas Jimmy has been an outstanding, dedicated, and valuable employee to the town of North Wilkesboro for over 30 years. And whereas Jimmy joined the North Wilkesboro Fire Department in 1982, serving in several leadership roles throughout his tenure before being appointed to the position of First Assistant Chief. And whereas early in his career, Jimmy was one of the first county first responders when North Wilkesboro Fire Department started their first responder program, running medical calls in conjunction with Wilkes EMS and helping train members of the department on fireground operation and the ins and outs of being an interior firefighter. And whereas Jimmy's time in the department progressed, he was elected by the members as interim chief in April 2014, continuing to assist with training the members and leading firefighters during fire operations before being appointed North Wilkesboro Fire Chief, October 2014. And whereas North Wilkesboro Fire Chief Jimmy Martin oversaw the awarding of a staffing for adequate fire and emergency response grant from FEMA in October 2019, awarding the town and fire department over $500,000 to fund salaries of 4 new part-time firefighters and establish a volunteer firefighter recruiting program, which resulted in hiring another full-time engineer to help augment staffing, resulting in flexibility in inspection scheduling and community service events. And whereas Chief Martin oversaw the awarding of an assistant to firefighter grant from FEMA in August 2021 in the amount of $952,000, enabling the town to replace the fire department's 34-year-old aerial unit with a new modern 105-foot aerial unit, estimated to cost $1.5 million for a town expense of less than $500,000, ensuring the department's ability to respond to multi-story fires in our town limits, as well as assist neighboring fire departments. Now, therefore be it resolved that the North Wilkesboro Board of Commissioners and Mayor honor North Wilkesboro Fire Chief Jimmy Martin for his 40 years of distinguished service to the citizens of North Wilkesboro and the North Wilkesboro Fire Department, and congratulate him upon his retirement effective October. Be it further resolved, the town, the North Wilkesboro Board of Commissioners and Mayor thank Jimmy Martin for his service, both as a valued employee and as a North Wilkesboro Fire Chief for the town of North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, and declare tomorrow, Friday, October 28th, 2022, as North Wilkesboro Fire Chief Jimmy Martin Day. Appreciate it. Jimmy, we're almost done. Not quite, but please. Yeah. Yeah, you want it. Young man, come around and just. Yeah, you're good.
I get all the way.
Yeah, we're both family up here. I have one more here. And this is a clock. I'd like to read the inscription. You're fine, you're fine. This is presented to Jimmy Lee Martin Jr. in appreciation of your 40 years of dedication and distinguished service, serving as North Wilkesboro firefighter from 1982 to 2014, and as North Wilkesboro Fire Chief from 2014 to 2022. It's presented by the North Wilkesboro Board of Commissioners and Mayor. It's my pleasure to present this to you. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it, I really do. And we'll keep you informed, when the truck gets here, the new truck, we're gonna have it down at the farmer's market for another reception. Of course, Jimmy will be featured then too. And also, Commissioner Parsons is having the plaque hand engraved to put on the truck and affix it there permanently. So Jimmy, we'll see you again real soon.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's under the mask. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
They're here.
Come on up. Yeah. Just hold the Bible, Mom.
You know, Mom, you want to hold the Bible or what? Campbell? Whichever. Okay, let's do Campbell. He was, yeah, I was gonna say. He was the first one here. He was on time.
Facing this way.
You would have started that.
Oh.
You got the whole
Mom,
thing
you
there.
would. What do you want?
I don't want to block you.
All right. Yeah, put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, I state your name.
I, Holly Minton,
Do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain
do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the constitutional laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not consistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of town manager
of the office of town manager
of the town of North Wilkesboro
of the town of North Wilkesboro,
according to the best of my skill and ability.
according to the best of my skill and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, town manager.
I was up for a grip and grin. And for what's worth, Holly, we won't start a Rotary meeting without her either.
Thank you.
Under routine business, there are 3 items, A, B, and C. And I need a motion to approve all 3 unless someone has a reservation to put it out and discuss separately.
Technically, we will do 2 days, and, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve items B and C on the routine business consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Can I have a second, please? A second. Thank you, Mr. Church. All those in favor? Unanimous, carried. Thank you very much. Our next item is Wilkes County Public Library update. And we have us with us this evening, Miss Susanna Moore, and she is a librarian for Wilkes County Public Library.
Hey, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
I'm gonna have some calendars and a fall newsletter to share with the commissioners and whoever wants one.
Sure.
We got to go around. And I want to talk to you all about some exciting things going on next month. Next week, starting next Saturday, week from this Saturday, the 5th of November. We're going to be kicking off some special programming to honor our veterans. And this all started basically about a year and a half ago when I began my job here. We started collecting the stories of local veterans to put into a digital archive. And that digital archive is going to be coming out in a print edition very soon. And as soon as it is ready for us, I'll be bringing you a copy of that as well. So this is just the cover shot of the variety of programming that we're going to have. The next slide is introducing our Veterans History Project. This is the cover. This was live. You could click and get in and see the archive. This is just a slideshow here. But if you visit our website and scroll down to the lower left-hand corner, the front page of our website, it will take you into a portal where you can search by branch or campaign or by names of veterans to find out about their personal stories. We've got some stories going back to the Civil War times, World War I, World War II, all the different campaigns. And we're really honored to be able to share them. It is an ongoing project, so that digital archive will continue to grow. And every year we hope to have a print edition to share with you. We got some funding through the state library, and part of the funding came through the donation from the town of North Wilkesboro. So you're recognized as a supporter of the project on the cover of the print edition. And what the print copies are for is to give all of the participants keepsake magazines to share with friends and family. We also are going to be donating some to all the school libraries, the campus library, assisted living facilities, and all the county libraries within our region. So it's just a way to keep those stories alive and to always remember the sacrifices that were made for us. So I hope you'll visit the archive, and I'll give you the print editions as soon as they come out, any day now. Okay, our next slide is talking about the first Marathon Jam. I wore my little Marathon Jam shirt to show off. But this is nonprofit that recognizes and honors veterans. And we're participating in conjunction in partnership with the Wilkes Acoustic Folk Society. The funding, the money raised through this jam will go to support the local the state Fisher houses. There's one in Fort Bragg and in Camp Lejeune. If you're not familiar with Fisher House, it's kind of like a comfort home, or you may be familiar with Ronald McDonald houses, where families who stay nearby when children are being in medical care. This will be on base at Fort Bragg and Camp Lejeune, and these homes are for the families. You know, they stay in a motel 2 or 3 nights, and it kind of absorbs what they would normally pay in a month's rent to be near their family members who are there to be treated for injuries that they incurred maybe in war to protect us. So it's a really important cause, and the healing through music is the logo. So if you want to come out and visit, we're going to be at the Post on November 5th for a 10-hour picking party. We'll start at 1 in the afternoon and go to 11 at night, but luckily it's daylight savings, so when it's all over, you get an hour, right? If you stay for the entire jam, if you're a picker, a player, you get a special Iron Pickers t-shirt. It's kind of like this one, but it's black. But there'll be spectators visiting and lots of music. And during the event, we're going to be honoring veterans throughout the day and the evening with quilts of honor. And we'll be wrapping them in patriotic quilts, not only veterans, but first responders who protect us on the home front and those that go abroad as well. And I'm very excited to be here tonight. And I just look like I got to meet Jimmy Martin because I read about him in the paper, and I was like, I need to find out about that because we want to wrap him. You don't come down there for that. He doesn't know that. Okay, so the next slide is talking about the new story walks that are going up. One at Fish Jam Creek is the wall. And this is a story about a boy and his dad who go to the Vietnam Memorial Wall to find the name of his grandfather that he never met. So it explains that to children in a very tenderhearted way and understanding about those sacrifices made in the Vietnam era. And then back to World War I, here downtown in North Wilkesboro, we're going to have a brand new story walk going up, and it'll be in the windows of our downtown marches. So if you look at the fall newsletter that I gave around, you'll see something very exciting there, and that is in the bottom there on the front page, inside front page is a little book vending machine. Okay, we got a grant through Partnership of Children, awarded through First National Bank, to put a book vending machine in our library. And the whole idea is that the kids will follow through town and read these stories with their families, end up at the library to get a token, put in the machine, and get a book that they can keep. And at the same time, we'll, say, hey, do you have a library card? Look at all the other cool stuff in the library, and, just get kids to read more and give out books. But every 6 weeks, we'll be updating with fresh stories on downtown merchants' windows. The first one will be the Poppy Lady, and this will be to recognize the tradition of the red poppies that are given out in memory of vets. And our auxiliary, VFW auxiliary women are bringing me a big basket of little red poppies, so they get a free book and a poppy for the launch of the story walk. And the next slide is talking about a program that we'll have on the 9th of November with Laura Bailey. She's a World War II historian. Several of her relatives are featured in our Veteran History Project. She had majored in World War II. She has lots of artifacts, and she's going to come and speak to us on how Wilkes County responded to the call to serve in World War II. And that will be an afternoon program in the library on Wednesday, November the 9th. So I want to invite y'all for that. Also, the next slide, we traditionally hold the Talking Service Book Club every second Friday in the library's meeting room. And the veterans come, and family members, caretakers, anyone who's concerned and wants to learn and understand more about war and the realities of war and that sort of thing. There's always good conversation and things that we read and talk about. In previous meetings, they started talking about this traditional dish that was served, hamburger gravy. And we thought that sounded kind of good, you know? So they agreed to cook that for us. And we're having an SOS hamburger gravy brunch at the VFW hall on the 10th. The 11th is a Friday, which is when we normally meet, but we're closed that day for Veterans Day. If you'd like to come and sample some of the hamburger gravy on toast and meet some veterans, that you're all invited to that as well. The 10th of November at 10 a.m. at the VFW hall. The next slide is the 10th of November at 6 o'clock in the library. And it's another World War II story about sacrifice and community. And this book is beautiful. I was so excited to find it. I was up in DC for a conference in June, and going through the exhibit hall, I saw the canteen with all this work we're doing on veterans history. I looked over the book, and the vendor said, "Oh, you're from the Appalachian Regional Library System." Well, Eric Rose, she's from ASU in Boone. So I was like, "Cool, okay, I'm gonna go home and find out if he'll come and talk to us." So the book came out this month on October 3rd, and it's about the story of a community that visited the train station during World War II in North Platte, Nebraska, every single day during the entirety of the whole war, and brought cakes and food and comfort items to give to the troops. And it's a really nice, beautifully made book. It's geared toward a younger audience, but it's like a scrapbook type of book with lots of photos. All ages will enjoy it, and he will have some books on sale at that event. So if you're available to come to the library at 6 o'clock and hear him, we'd like to invite you there for that as well. And then I think the last slide is, yes, the day after Veterans Day, we're going to host the Crooked Road Ramblers traditional music at the Heritage Museum in partnership with the Arts Council. And Hilby, the fiddler and leader of the band, is our library's IT coordinator. And he agreed to play Soldier's Joy for our veterans, an old traditional tune. So these are all the things that, you know, we've got coming up. I want to share that with you and invite you out for it. And stop by the library when you can, so I can tell you about more. I could talk for a long time, and you don't have time for that now. But I also have these little save the date cards, so I'll leave a few here that remind you about the jam and pass them around to anyone that you know. And I can see somebody there. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Where did you get all your information for the vets in World War II and all that?
Well, Laura Bailey, she's the historian that's coming to talk to us. She majored in World War II. And she's got,
Have you ever looked at the book, The Land of Wilkes? Judge,
no,
there's a whole article in there on
there's
my
a lot.
dad. My dad was in World War II. He was a Silver Star, one star. He's the most decorated soldier in Wolf County at that time.
We would love to include him in our project, in our own book, you know,
Let's get together and talk. I've got
definitely.
pages and pages of articles.
Definitely, I'm still interviewing. I've got, and it's a community engagement project, not just myself, but our librarians, our teen volunteers. We had a high school student that did photography for the yearbook to help with scanning and uploading photos. We had an ASU intern that helped with interviewing and transcribing. And it's something that we want to involve more people in. So it's going to be an ongoing thing. Just drop by the library and I'll give you all the information on how we put his story in our.
Vietnam vet.
Definitely. I'm so glad that you spoke up, and I appreciate your service, sir. And I'd love to have you part of our project. All of you, anyone here, family, yourself, anyone. We want to keep those stories in a collection to share.
Anyone else have any questions for Ms. Moore?
Thanks for doing so much to honor the vets.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for your
doing
support.
what you do.
We appreciate the contribution towards our work. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming by.
Before we proceed, can I give a clarification on something that we can already voted on? The November meeting would be closed. We're not, so we're not having a meeting at the early part of the month, we'll be on the last. And
They're still doing the gym and meeting on the same day.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that we don't have an emergency issue topic on the agenda. The bottom, I missed that at the bottom.
We're gonna- we got it.
Yeah, good catch. Thank you.
Okay. The rezoning, Mrs. Dash.
Yes, sir. I'm just gonna talk from the agenda packet, if that's okay.
Sure.
The applicant cannot be here tonight. He had prior obligations, but I'm gonna give you a quick overview. Give you the planning board recommendation, and then you will need to make a motion to call for the public hearing. November 17th. Since the 18th. Okay. All right, so the first one, these are all three properties off kind of in the Sparta Road area. Off Marsh Lane is the first one. This is parcel ID 1404248. It's 0.98 acres. Right now it is R6 and they are looking to rezone it to LI, light industrial. So in your agenda packets, I got a staff report. So you kind of see on the third page, the zoning area, and this is immediately adjacent to Mr. Nate's property that is the Old Carolina Mirror. And he's got several industrial properties up in that area. So the access to that property is off Marsh Lane. It's in town limits, water and sewer are available. So the applicant is actually looking to, what he's looking to do is to create another access within this facility off of Sparta Road. Right now, you can only access it off of 268. And you can go down East Wall Street, but the way there's cars and there's some other challenges of getting trucks in and out of there, plus it is disruptive to those neighbors. So one of the things we want to look at when we do a review for rezonings is how is it consistent with our comp plan? Well, our comp plan actually identifies this as commercial. But we can kind of course, like we talked, amend these things as growth and opportunities come our way. And that's one of the things the planning board did discuss. One of the other things you want to look at is what else is in the vicinity. We want to make sure we're not doing spot zoning and we're consistent with the other uses in the region. So light industrial is right next door, so therefore it's not spot zoning and it is, it is somewhat harmonious, even though there is residential next to it. The next thing you want to look at is the suitability of the property. What can essentially be used with it? So it is kind of a property tucked back there, right adjacent to that industrial center. And what his plans are is to create literally a driveway through the three properties, so they can have direct truck access to those tenants. So that's also spurring a little bit of economic development in that area, and then of course, more marketability with you having access off of 268 as well as Highway 18. So that gives him a little bit more flexibility with his tenants. So while we understand you are taking a residential property and you're creating it now industrial, the impact, you're going from 7 houses being impacted to 2. And Mr. Nate has spoken to all the property owners, and I've spoken to at least 1 or 2 of them as well. And once they realized what he's doing, they were like, okay, that sounds reasonable. We're not having, major industry cliff here, it's access. He will be required to put in buffers, of course, 25-foot trees, shrubbery, those type of things. And then the last thing, like I mentioned, is not spot zoning. What happens after tonight is essentially, we will take this forward to a public hearing. We'll do our notification process again. Notify all the neighbors, add the newspaper, there's signs on the property. And right now, the staff recommendation is I know it is a big change with our light industrial to R6, but it can be considered reasonable. And we do have the planning board recommendation as well, and they did find it also as a reasonable use to change. And we're gonna do this 2 more times, but even faster. Those 3 properties total. Do you have any questions for the first one?
You need separate questions on each item as a public hearing, or can we lump them all as one public hearing?
You can combine them.
As long as we state each parcel ID, correct?
Yes.
Okay, there are a change in zoning though, so you might want to do actually 2. Or notate. One of them's going from R6 to LI, and one of them's going from HB to LI. So that's only, I can walk you through it.
Okay.
Yes, but we were doing this 2 more times for different properties. Now, the other 2 properties are highway business. They are actually fronting Sparta Road, Highway 18. I'm just gonna read the parcel ID for you. That would be 1401756. That is a 0.39 acre lot. And the other property is 1401756.39. That's the planning board recommendation, apologies. They all look very similar. Here we go. 1400545.19 acres, which is another small lot on Sparta Road.
How many acres?
0.19. Yes, sir. So they're very small. When you go to your map, actually, there's a house there, maybe it got torn down a long time ago. So he will be crossing Marsh Lane with the trucks, and we have talked about reinforcing the asphalt a little bit as that is a town road. And that will do a little bit more wear and tear on, of course, with trucks going across, but about the same with these wall.
This is that, you want to just read the partial IDs as you need it done for motion, and so that if whoever the commissioner would like to make the motion, they can say so moved and second.
So all y'all really need to do is actually call for a public hearing. So what I'll do is I'll read all the specifications, and then we'll notate that for the minutes, and then let you all move forward. So who would be the person making a motion?
Michael Parsons?
He is an organized human being on the board.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so.
All right, I think I've got it.
Oh,
I'd like to make a motion to call for a public hearing for 3 parcels. First parcel is ID number 1404248 on Marsh Lane, which will be rezoned from R6 to light industrial. Parcel ID 1401756 Sparta Road, highway business to light industrial. And parcel ID 140545 Sparta Road, also highway business to light industrial.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Got a second, please. Thank you, Mr. Church. All those in favor? No opposed, motion carries, and that'll be a public hearing on November 17th.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Item 10, the town manager's report, Ms. Smith.
This is my first manager's report, my second week in service. I'm super excited to be here. It's been a really busy first 2 weeks. There's a lot going on right now. We've got 5 water projects going on. Starting with parks and beautification. I don't know if you've all noticed the murals in progress. She's stenciling right now. I think it's gonna be beautiful. I'm super excited about it. She is very kind, and you know, Andrew talked with her. If you haven't been down there, you should definitely go down there. I know it's long awaited, but I think it's gonna be awesome. Smoot Park, revitalization is moving forward. They installed the playground equipment. And next week, next Tuesday, we're having Red Vest Day, which is a volunteer day. We're gonna be doing trees, planting and landscaping. I would definitely encourage anybody, everybody, to come out and volunteer. Wear your work gloves and appropriate clothing. One of the waterline projects, for the EDC building is about 65% complete. That was last week, so I'd assume they're a little further along this week. They anticipated being done by the end of the month. Iron Mountain, the contractor, had said that. The 500,000 gallon water tank project off of 268 is about 85% complete. We have to do, I think we lack fencing, chlorination, and hooking up electronics. So we're excited about that. We should start filling it with water maybe next month, hopefully. I was gonna say, as long as there aren't any barricades. The staff are actively involved in the active flow project at the raw water intake. I don't know, the active flow project, it's a new mechanism to take large particles out of the water before, so essentially the town can use less chemicals for the process. It can be cost saving in the long run. I was gonna say, as far as, that's really all I have. It's kind of a short one today, I assume, hopefully. And I wanted just to ask you all, if you all had any emerging issues that you wanted to engage in now.
Do we have any updates on the water intake process?
I was gonna say, not, I'm engaging with Matt Shoesmith right now about the process. I don't really have anything of note yet. I was gonna say, I'll definitely send out something in the next, hopefully Matt Shoesmith will get back to me tomorrow. I spoke with him once, but he had some permitting he had to do for the active flow project, and so I didn't wanna push him too hard with my first phone call. And then I sent him 2 more emails and another phone call. So, you know, but I'm on it. This is the short version of that.
Any further conversation on the social district that we were working on at one point?
I was waiting for the community development director to start because we're gonna need to do a tremendous amount of outreach. And I thought that would be a good opportunity to get that person like in front of the business owners and then also like finalize those designs before we bring it back to you with the final ordinance.
When do we expect to have somebody in place?
Soon?
I anticipate making a decision within the next 3 to 5 business days. I would say.
I got one comment that ain't got nothing to do with this.
Okay.
Andrew and I were talking on the sidewalk farm there. And we're putting all this brand new equipment and everything in parks. How many, we need to look at putting cameras down there to record everything goes on in the park. I don't know where we're gonna get the money, but we need to find it the
I was
grant.
gonna say, I just texted Nelson, there are some cameras down there already. I'm not sure about the coverage of them, so I'm gonna check that out and then I'll
I
explore
was
this.
told there's a lot of dark spots you can't see.
I was gonna say, I'm sure there are, because the park is not that well lit, which is one of the things that we started talking about with the new park equipment. We definitely need to, we definitely need to work on lighting and camera
I
equipment,
agree.
for sure. Yeah,
See, we need to make that a top priority too, because we're putting a lot of money in that park.
yes, we are.
Speaking of the parks, I saw the new signs up at the basketball court. that
Good.
Said, no profanity and this and that. And I think those are important because it shows that we're trying to clean the parks. And I think it's a good sign. So I was real happy about that. And yeah, I had spoke to Larry earlier today, and asked him how things are going. He said, good. And he said, one of their concerns was through the Greenway and at Smooth Park, they had people graffiti things. And he said he thought that cameras might be good too. So I think that's worth looking into. I have one more question for Meredith. I know that we've talked about in the past, continue to go through the zoning to look at things that we can maybe loosen restrictions. Is there a time maybe we can start doing that again?
Hmm.
I mean, early next year?
I was gonna say, let me get,
Stuff done first and then we can do that.
yeah, so let me get through these grants real quick. I think I think after Christmas, things will be in a lot better shape
Yeah.
with getting Sarah and Holly up to speed. And then also I've got several grant deadlines that are like looming over me for next week. And then, yes, we'll be moving back to zoning,
Okay,
not grant funding.
sounds good.
Martha, you have an idea of some things in your mind that you would like the planning board to tackle? Or are you willing, or is there something that
Well,
we could get the planning board, some members of the planning board and commissioners that are interested in getting together and having a sit down? I forget to be the legalities of that as far as joint meetings, but I mean, I would be happy to sit down and kind of share with you some of my thoughts and hear where you guys are thinking.
well, can I share it, Meredith?
Yes.
Okay, one of the things that came up, with some people here in town was the fact of the rates coming up the week of May 19th. And because of that, we know we're going to be covered up in RVs and cars and everything else coming in here. I understand all the hotels are already booked. So somebody came up with the idea, and I think the word, I'm not sure, but I think the word is boondocking, that they can park an RV with no hookups at all. So we got to thinking about it, that if you had a lot and you had extra space, around your house, and you wanted to have an RV parked there for 5 days, 6 days, however long, charging $50 a night, then You could put it on the internet. We're maybe looking at something for the town of a website people could actually go to where it's all done. But not have permits, not have fees, but just allow the citizens of the town to take part in the race, make a little bit of money on the side, and we've got to decide how long, maybe 10 days to a week or whatever, but if they're there any longer, then Meredith jumps in and they get fined or told to move or whatever.
Mhm.
But it's a place like church parking lots for the youth groups to work, this kind of thing, that, like the Apple Festival. So we're working on that, and she's pulling that plus RV parks that we already have here in town,
Mhm.
seeing about all that and trying to get it done. We've got to get it done by the first of the year, because if we don't, people aren't gonna have time to advertise.
Right.
So that's what she's
I like
working on, and
that.
I
I like
think
that. Yeah, I think maybe from a standpoint, what do you think about just making it? Again, Mary, this was saying, if you just said, whoa, what if the citizens would just at least
they will
simple,
report for they either they
fix
would call
line
it or
application?
email. I had 5 spaces.
Mhm.
I'm John Smith.
You know, I mean, I think for a standpoint of just knowing what is going on.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
I mean, no fees,
Yep,
no, just, but
just
make it,
notating
make
it.
it simple.
Yes.
Just a simple, I live at such and such, and I would like to host, and I think we could say it, I'd like to host X number of, you know, maybe have a little bit of criteria as far as, you know, they've got
Yeah, we
40
got,
by 30 feet of track, you know.
Yeah.
You could only maybe have
and we want to do
a
this too
certain
for,
number. Square foot, I mean, I don't know, I don't wanna make, I'm with you, brother, I wanna make it simple, I'd love the citizens to participate.
Well, a lot of these RVs are gonna be pulling cars behind them.
Mhm.
So I know Ron said the other night, they're gonna use charter buses and have places for people to park, like CC Wright School and the Rotary Club and all this. So that the buses can pick up and move. And we've talked about this with him, the race thing, because if we don't do it soon, it's gonna be too late. And I think our problem, Meredith, would also include ETJ, right?
Yes, because zoning for mobile, not mobile homes, I'm sorry,
But
RVs is within our ETJ as well.
But we can't say you can come and stay 2 weeks or
Mhm.
3 weeks, hey, this is for the race weekend. There's gonna be a golf thing on Tuesday, a truck race on Thursday or Friday. There's something every day. So we're gonna have people in here from as far away as California. They've already been in here from London, they've been in Germany. And the story Ron told the other night was a 7th grader who had written a 4-page letter to SMI Sports and brought him a crayon drawing of the raceways and says with it. So he and his daddy came to visit. And Ron said, "Are you coming to the All-Star race?" And the kid said, looked at his daddy like, "Well, are we gonna get to do this?" And Ron said, "I bet you there's some tickets show up for you to come back to that." And the kid started crying. He said, "It's all about the nostalgia. Everybody wants to know the history. Everybody wants to know where it started. Like Staley's done a big thing for Fox affiliates on it. It's exploding." And I think we need to take a part of that and allow our citizens to be a part of it without punishing them with fines and permits and all that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're kind of creating an RV Airbnb.
You got it, you got it.
So,
And
we-
we done work we can't spend next time.
And
We're
we-
also discussing some sort of activity in downtown,
Yep.
or not on race day, of course, but around it to kind of attract people into downtown versus just staying out at the
yeah, you
speedway.
could get them to drag their haulers through the town.
Yes.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Everything's on the table.
Hauler for
I'd love to see the haulers come through both municipalities, the same, up 115 and here over to Wilkesboro and then back down 421.
Mhm.
same route as in town.
Oh, they're expecting-
Great.
They're expecting 30,000, you don't hear near 30,000 people, temporary grandstands are being erected. That doesn't count those big boxes across the top.
And they're building extra big boxes.
Yeah, they're modular units that are in storage in Charlotte will be put up on poles. Press needs 4 acres alone. We're gonna have press in here from every place coming and going.
Mhm.
It's gonna be crazy.
Good, Chris.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so we want to like welcome it and just at the same point, make sure everything's gonna run as smoothly as possible.
Great.
Well, I told them, I'm not a race fan, I'll never go to a race, but I'll support this 1,000% if it gets something for our town.
So make sure that the roads, I mean, that the Rotary Park
Well, and
on board.
yes, yeah.
Engaged, and the VFW's engaged.
And this could be also, we could do it year round for like Merle Fest or anything else and open if we want to, that opportunity as well.
Once we get the system set.
Yes,
we can go.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because right now, the way it stands is you cannot live in an RV because that is not technically a habitable area per zoning, building code, minimum housing. We got several things working against it. So we're essentially trying to create a happy medium.
So that's why we need her to do this before we go to residential zone, please.
And we agree with you.
We know we gotta do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I just want to make sure that we have good communication best we can with the SMI people, because I know they're planning events the week of the race. So that we're going along with what they're doing, but if we need to do any events of our own, because we need to get people from out there down here and around our town spending money.
Well, we need to think about maybe a separate website for all this too. And I know good at websites, somebody else might do it, but that's.
well, maybe we get a new community development person that has good website skills if that happens.
So I'll give a really fast update. Staff is working with SMI to do a tremendous amount of like outreach, events. Everything's on the table with the representative we're working with, and it's also through the chamber and the EDC. So we've all partnered up. And we're gonna make a lot of stuff happen. We'll bring you updates as they come.
I went out and visited Ron at the Speedway day before yesterday and also met Steve out there, so. We're trying to make all this great.
The marketing we will get out of all that's going out of there is more than we could ever afford. We just need to make sure we have our ship in order and we have something good to portray to people that are coming in here and seeing it, and maybe they'll come back.
We may even look later on at some kind of mini festival, not an apple festival, but something, maybe food trucks one day. Music one day.
I
We
think
gotta get people back in here, we gotta get the money flowing in.
that new merchants group that's doing this spectacular thing, we'll see how that turns out, but I think we should be talking to them.
Yeah.
And I agree, we got a lot of opportunity there if we want to go after it.
We're excited about the spectacular event. I've been in good contact with Mark Cook over the week. We're just, it's gonna be so much.
Over 70, we've got over 70 participants.
I think it's 76 at this point.
Yeah, including like,
The
vendors setting up the tents
Yes.
and
the merchant,
And the merchants.
and yeah, so he's got over 30 candidates.
Right.
And he's got over 40, including the merchants, because Mark's plan was he didn't want any tent set up right in a merchant's door that wanted downtown. So, but he's got a lot of participation and,
There's been really good advertising for it. There's an article in the newspaper today.
Yeah.
And they've got billboards.
I mean, it's blown up on my
was
Facebook
gonna say.
page because I've been sharing it on the store page, and I mean, it's garnered about as many shares as anything I've put up, so.
I look forward to having a community development person that can really maximize this for us.
this can be a continuation of every year.
Yes.
Year to year. I mean,
Yeah.
you could have people coming in here from Elkin and Boone or, all the
Hallelujah.
surrounding areas.
And Mark's been really good to check in and coordinate with the police department and with our whole group, which has been really nice.
This can be done every year and also other, regarding other holidays, downtown merchants can have something. Not once a quarter.
Yeah.
Can anybody else feel it? You
Mhm,
feel like the
mhm.
potential for our town,
Mhm.
starting to realize it a little bit.
We need to
Yeah.
I know.
Christmas has always been strong, and just imagine what it can be, which is so much.
Mhm.
I'm with you.
I know that they got all the power installed on the poles down on my block, so that's for the new lights, that's pretty.
Yep, you're
The
working
fire
hard.
department's gonna be decorating on the 30th of this month,
Mhm.
so, which will have us kind of we'll be able to see, if anything, any issues.
And we have new decorations we've not put out.
Yes.
Downtown.
They got it.
It's the
Friday
18th.
before
I
Thanksgiving.
think it's the 18th.
It's also, yeah,
I think so.
this collectively just hang together, keep our foot on the gas and keep things moving. Because we've come a ways and we got a lot more to do, just to pick up speed. There is one other matter. I was at the last concert on the deck, and an old landscaper for a very long time, Bob Vickery, came up to me and said, see these trees along the road here? He's looking south towards the depot. And I said, yeah, I said, look great. He said, well, it's been some time ago. He said, but I approached old elected officials about getting, continuing that tree line on down. I said, okay. He said it would help with, first of all, shade, sun can be brutal down there before it goes down, also noise. It just looks good. He said, I know the maple tree that's there and what you should plant. I said, hey, it's a great idea. So I said, I'll bring it up. So I've already spoke to staff. I've had a conversation with 2 commissioners already. I'd like the other remaining commissioners to give a thumbs up or thumbs down on staff looking into just continuing planting that line of maple trees. It's a type of sugar maple that grows fast and is sturdy.
I just have one issue with the trees that shed leaves every year. It's a mess.
If it's gonna do that, let's put somebody on staff that rake leaves and blow leaves, because I have. to blow
I mean, I'm all for the tree mark, but can I make them, is there any way we can look at evergreens?
I would say,
If we get a tree, the leaves don't come off,
we were
I'll support it.
we were at the NC Tech Pathways Masthead building today and looking out of their windows, those maple trees are bright orange, bright yellow. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
And one of the goals is to develop a maintenance plan for things like leaves moving forward. So hopefully, you all would see less of them on the ground in the future.
I just know how there's times in front of my store, they'll be 6, 10 inches deep.
I'm with you.
This is a block south.
Those are things we need to work.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Why
with
it's so bad.
you. We do, and we actually, yes, and we are.
When I think about that as a venue, I think when you compare it, I hate to compare it to Wilkesboro, but I hear from people all the time, I like going over there to watch shows better. One reason is they have trees around.
It's true.
They have grass out there. People like to be around nature.
Yeah.
And I think that our space, we need to be thinking as time moves on, how we could make it a more comfortable.
Yeah, we
place.
have to look at putting more planting and more greenery in the shop that we have.
Right.
You know, I came into the shop one day. One day I had trees. The next morning, they were all cut down and nobody said one word to any of us. And then you'll see there's little new squares that are newer where they pushed them right over, cut them down overnight. So we don't want an issue like that again. When we have to have more greenery, more florals, people don't want to see a place to put cigarette butts, which they can be, that's what they're sometimes taken up for. They want a green, pretty space.
Yeah. Also, I didn't say, I failed to mention this, I spoke with David Webb regarding this matter. And he said they've got the vacuum truck
Yes.
set, it's ready to go. So, and he realizes it's important to keep that, in repair, keep it active. So we can take up the trees or the leaves that are a block away from, a good block away.
And it
from Main
takes
Street.
a good period of time to,
Yes.
It
they're
does.
falling as fast as they can
Yeah.
suck them up.
Yeah.
I feel guilty putting my old street on.
I know you agree.
Eco trees was nuts.
All
You
time.
know, what you think about, they all fall. And you don't plant eco trees in Wilkes County.
So can I have a head nod one way or the other on these?
Please.
Oh, I'm not
Tree.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be anti-benchmark, but
In downtown, not necessarily down there, I think that if we're gonna be putting trees, what Michael said about having evergreens
Yeah.
that don't shed, it's probably smart.
And we could put
Yeah.
evergreen.
I'm not
and
for
decorate
all the
them.
maple trees down there, and I'll exchange all of that for evergreens up here on the main.
See, we could put evergreens on Main Street and decorate them for Christmas.
I would love that.
And that's what I like, I like to see all these leaves, trees on Main go away. See, I'm tired of weeding.
It's okay for staff.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, guys.
While we're on the subject, one thing that I have moaned about for a couple years now is, I think one of the things North Wilkesboro needs to do better is we need to have performance measures for how we mow things that are grass and trees around town. And real public areas need to be a certain standard, parks and cemeteries, another standard, and then right of ways, a weaker standard. And I would fully support that and just raising expectations.
Goals are legit.
But we could do that, and we gotta have enough people to do it.
Mhm.
You ain't got enough people right now to do it.
Well, we find a way, whatever it takes, we find a way.
We're gonna work really hard on recruitment and setting high expectations for ourselves and we're
Budgeting next year.
and budgeting for
Keep
next
that in
year.
mind for next year.
Just about.
What I think for me, Holly, is, any word from the auditors as to where their process is? I know they're behind, but, you know, it's gonna also put us behind, because I think our audit reports due the end of November.
It's the end of November.
So, and they haven't even started the process, correct?
We had a delay with Southern Software where we could essentially couldn't retrieve the information that we needed. So it put us behind. So the auditors, Connie is speaking with them about trying to get them in here quickly. As to
So was
not
it on our
have,
end or their end? Because I was under the impression that it was on their end.
it was on their end.
Okay.
It was on Southern Software's end. It's just one of those things
Well, the
where,
cog has the same problem, they're still waiting on their own.
yeah, no, it was on Southern Software's end. We couldn't retrieve the information, period, at Southern Software, but regardless, it still eventually will come to our plate. Yeah,
It just needs to stay in the forefront, because the last thing we need
I
is,
really
Yeah.
don't want to have a late audit my first. Yes, I'm with you.
so.
Okay, line, so we have to turn it off,
I'm with you.
because we have perfection.
Yes. I was gonna say.
Very good. Anybody have anything else?
I'm making a motion with adjourn.
No, one more item,
Yeah.
really quick.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's-
We have to do this.
Really quick, okay, housekeeping items for you. So. As I mentioned earlier, we have a grant application coming up. It is for $500,000. It is to the state for accessibility for parks. This is for our pool house. We're stepping into phase 2 of Smoot Park. So in your agenda packets, you have a resolution, and I also want to bring to your attention. Due to staff error, your appendixes were left out of your master plan, so we are limiting that issue, so. You can have those 2 items for consideration.
Does anybody else need one?
Yeah, so you don't have to readopt it. I just wanted to publicly bring that to everyone's attention that the appendixes were omitted in your agenda packet because it was like an extra 30 pages, and that's probably what happened.
So you guys need a motion to approve this.
This is a resolution essentially giving staff the authority because this grant requires a 1-to-5 match. So we are on the hook for $100,000 if we get the grant for $500,000, which is a really nice chunk of change and unheard of for state funding.
Will this fix our pool?
No,
Well, this fix,
this will fix our pool house
Yeah.
and some other amenities within the park.
so it'll actually be, what would be like remodeling the pool house and building a new one,
We would be remodeling.
but then it would be good. We're gonna be going pool house after this.
Yeah, hopefully. And I'm also applying to the Wilkes Medical Center Foundation too for funding. You know, multiple pots of money to try to tap into. Part of, I'll come back to you and talk to, we'll fix the pool. That will be in the spring.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the pool too. It's not about the deadline or time, it's just about making sure it's structurally sound.
It's structurally sound, but we are leaking water, which is never a nice good thing.
Massive.
Yeah, that's the massive part.
But part of it requires a 50-50 match. So we gotta come up with $250,000.
Right.
So I'm gonna also talk to you guys about fundraising strategies. So we're gonna do a holistic approach to this, because this is a multi-million-dollar, multi-generational project we're working on.
Well, I think somewhere in all this too, and I don't know that we ever got a clarification on it, but we need some type of policy directive for private sector contributions to the town,
Yes.
so that if we were to try to solicit private contributions to the town to help us with the remodeling of the pool and or other projects. So I really think we need to have that in place so that, you know, we have a clear understanding that if some entity grants us a large sum of money, that that the conflict of interest that could potentially be
Yes.
involved is eliminated. So it's just a policy directive. I think at one point it was talked about and then it kind of got kibosh, but I think it's a good policy to have.
I've
You
seen
know,
reports of it.
because, you know, private sector, I still think is a valuable asset that a municipality can use, especially on capital expenditure projects like Smoot Park. And, so, but like I said, I just would like to be able, so that if someone approached us, we would have something in place that
Correct.
kind of gives us a guideline on how to do this.
Correct.
Also, since we have the only public pool in the county, I wonder if this is something that Jeffrey, I don't know how to help us.
The sky's the limit. So we're gonna go after every single avenue and we're gonna walk you through. There's gonna be a lot of red tape. There's gonna be a lot of like policy making, but we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it right. And then we'll talk about the other parks. So let's focus on Smoot for right now.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the resolution 2022-18 to approve staff to apply for state funding for Smoot Park renovations, accessibility for parks.
I second.
Thank you both. All those in favor?
No, that's okay. Y'all are used to emerging issues at the end. So yeah.
All right, so one quick clarification, Holly, would you prefer that we eliminate, because you're the new sheriff, you know, so would you prefer that we make emergency issues during your report? Or continue to have it as a separate agenda item?
I don't think it belongs in my report, because that way there's free flow of conversation and I essentially get directives from you all to move forward with, and, you know, so I feel like it belongs there, but if y'all want to keep it separate, it's up to you.
I think it's your call.
Well, I would like to leave it in my report.
Roll call, you do it the way you
Yeah.
do it.
By the time
That
we
don't require motion, that we change how we do that.
We'll look at the rules and procedures and make sure. But yeah, it's not in the town code.
By the time it gets to the end, I think, you know, some people gotta get home to eat or watch wrestling or whatever. I like, that's my favorite part of the meeting, is to get to talk about, I wanna put them up.
Yeah.
All right, now,
Mhm.
does anybody have anything else?
Mm-mm.
Mr. Tripp,
I'm making a motion with adjourn.
thank you. Get a second, please. Thank you.